Hey y'all, welcome in. Next time, bring a friend. So let's get right down to it. You have joined the Questions That Keep Me Up All Night podcast. If you got the invite and checked out the website, you know the spiel, so let's get into it. This month's quote is from Kevin O'Leary. Money is my military, each dollar a soldier. I never send my money into battle unprepared and undefended. I send it to conquer and take currency prisoner and bring it back to me. How many of us can confidently say that we have a healthy relationship with money? For many, especially in the Black community, money is a daunting and often taboo topic. It's often off limits because we have so much of our grandpa's baggage and our grandpa's mom's understanding and her cousin Billy's misunderstanding. We've inherited a complex mix of attitudes and misconceptions about finances from our families and cultural backgrounds. Personally, I've been fortunate to have a few positive experiences, and I say a few, with financial education. In college, I took economics courses at the associate's and master's levels, which not only deepened my understanding of finance, but also boosted my confidence in corporate settings. Special shout out to Professor Paul Rochelle and Steve Martelli. UC Berkeley did you good, and you did us better. Thank you. These experiences are exceptions rather than the rule. Notice I only said a few positive experiences. Statistically, financial literacy is a significant challenge for many Black individuals. Overall, African Americans have lower financial literacy scores than white Americans. On average, African Americans answered 38% of the personal finance index questions correctly, compared to 55% for white Americans. Factors that affect financial literacy are access to financial education, education level, and income. So, access to financial education. Schools with more Black and Brown students are less likely to offer personal finance classes. Education level. Financial literacy is greater among those with more education. And income. Financial literacy is greater among those with higher incomes. It seems if we had a better grasp of personal finance, we would be more empowered to recognize our worth, not just to ourselves, but also to our communities and society at large. So, my good people, let's talk about something real. Do I have to buy black? This question can go in so many directions, it's not even funny. Depending on the inflection of my voice when I ask the question, I could invoke a positive or negative response. I mean, think about it. The way you say it could totally change the vibe. Are you saying it with frustration, like, ugh, do I have to buy black? Or are you asking sincerely, like, do I really need to buy black? Initially, when I asked this question, it came from a place of frustration. I want to buy black, but the product is a whack. I want to buy black, but the service is bad. I want to buy black, but the item is overpriced. I want to buy black, but I just don't need that thing in my life. Now, let me say that a bit differently for those of us who have a little bit more class. I want to support Black businesses, but sometimes the products or services just aren't up to par, or they're overpriced, or I just don't need what they're selling. So the initial question sounded more like, why do I have to buy black? And then I remembered that whole Buy Black campaign from a while back. You know, the one where we were supposed to boycott all non Black businesses for a bit? It may have been after the tragedy of Mr. Floyd, but the idea of the campaign was to only buy black for a certain time and boycott Target, Walmart, and the like. Yeah, that lasted all of 2 days. It was a joke. Grandma Parks and Papa King would be rolling over in their graves if they knew. So then the question morphed into a more pensive, do I really have to buy black? What's the expectation here? Is it about supporting our community or is it about making a statement? What do you think? I mean, how do you all feel about buying black? Buying black, as the AI generated response told me on Google, refers to the practice of intentionally supporting Black owned businesses, essentially meaning you choose to purchase goods and services from businesses owned by Black people with the goal of contributing to economic empowerment and growth within the Black community by reinvesting money back into those communities. It's not a requirement, but rather a conscious choice to promote economic equality and address historical disparities in business ownership. That is a long definition. Essentially, you're intentionally supporting Black owned businesses. You choose to do this with a goal in mind about empowering the Black community. Key points about buying Black: economic impact. When you buy from Black owned businesses, the money stays within the Black community, creating jobs, generating wealth, and stimulating local economies. Empowerment. By actively supporting Black entrepreneurs, you contribute to their success and financial independence. Also, addressing racial wealth gap. Historically, Black communities have faced systemic barriers to economic opportunity, and buying Black aims to help close this gap. Now, mind you, that's all from my AI search reasons to buy Black. Okay. So there's Lynette Calfani Cox. She is the money coach, and she is a renowned financial expert, author, speaker, and media personality, empowering people to achieve financial success. So I went on a article that was on her website about the money coach, and she says we need to actively support Black small business owners all year long. And she talks about how usually in February people are like amped to go ahead and buy Black, but we need to be doing this all year long, just like I talk about Kwanzaa all year long. And we'll talk about that another time. She says, according to research from McKinsey and Company, 20% of Black Americans start small businesses, but only 4% of them survive the startup phase. The number of Black owned small businesses in America currently stands at 2.6 million, representing 8% of all small businesses in America. And that's from the US Census Bureau reports. Also, from her article, she gives 20 reasons to buy Black. Now, I'm going to go ahead and link that article underneath this post, but I want you guys to go ahead and look at that article, click on the links, move around pieces, and do the research for yourself. Number one, to circulate dollars within the Black neighborhood. Number two, to create more Black millionaires. Number three, to increase access to capital for Black entrepreneurs. Number four, to help create jobs in the Black community. Number five, to support Black entrepreneurs who are innovating in their respective industries. Number six, to show solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement and other social justice initiatives. Number seven, to help ensure that Black voices are heard and represented in business. Number eight, to help close the Black-white wealth gap in the U.S. I would add not just the Black-white wealth gap, because there's a Black Asian wealth gap, there's a Black Hispanic wealth gap, there's a gap, okay? That may be my opinion, but there's a gap between Blacks and others when it comes to talking about wealth. Number nine, to help create economic opportunities for all BIPOC individuals. And I'm going to go ahead and read this. By investing in Black-owned businesses, we are helping to close the racial wealth gap that exists in our society for Black, Indigenous, and people of color of all backgrounds, including Latino, Asian, and Native peoples. That's what BIPOC means. Number 10, to support Black-owned businesses making a difference in underserved communities. Number 11, to promote home ownership in the Black community. That is one of the reasons why this is a question that keeps me up all night. I'm still at that age where I want to own a home. And in my mind's eye, it is not possible. Number 12, to promote greater opportunity and a more just society. Number 13, to help create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive economy. Number 14, to reward exceptional Black talent and professionals. Number 15, to help counteract systemic racism and financial inequality. That's a good one. Number 16, to empower Black individuals and families. Number 17, to reduce the Black-owned business failure rate. Number 18, buy Black to practice ujamaa, or cooperative economics. That's what I just spoke about. Practicing Kwanzaa principles throughout the year, not just during Kwanzaa time right after December 25th. And number 19, to boost America's GDP, gross domestic product. Number 20, buy Black to promote financial freedom and independence for Black people. Now I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in here. That seemed like a lot. You can rewind it, go back, and then click the link so you can look on the article. Initially, like I said, this conversation started as like, why do I have to buy Black? And it was more of a, why do I have to buy Black? Because many times my experience with buying Black, like I want to be power to the people. I want to support people. And I don't know how supportive you are, but my friends will tell you if they're promoting something, if they're doing something, I'm going to buy from them. So that's more of like I'm buying from my friends, not necessarily buy black, but with that comes me buying black. And I will say, I'm going to toot my own horn here, that for my wedding, I purposefully wanted to employ my friends and also Black businesses. I wanted to do that just because it's like, I know that there are people out there just like me who have business minds, who want to do things, who want to get started, and they just don't get the chance because they're not either well known or because they are a Black business. And I'm proud to say that I was able to accomplish that for the most part. I hired a Black photographer who, ended up not coming the day of due to an emergency. However, it was his business that sourced the person who came. It was him who did the editing. I hired a friend of mine's and a Black DJ. I had the restaurant that we had that catered the food was a Black owned business. I definitely try to keep things in house because I know that there are a lot of talented people who maybe just haven't gotten the opportunity to show their talents. But I go back to my initial frustration. You have a lot of times where, and I say a lot because it's not just me who thinks this. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day. We'll go to Black restaurants like, yeah, I want to patronize them. I want to go. And it's like the waitress doesn't have it together. The attitudes are ridiculous. The wait times are ridiculous. The price is through the roof, and maybe the food is good. Like maybe that's the one thing that's good, right? So that's restaurants. Let's talk about people who say, yeah, I'm selling this, I'm selling that, and bad customer service. They don't communicate appropriately. This has been my experience. I was reading up on something that said that it's not that all Black businesses are bad and that the people are lazy and that they don't have good customer service and they're understaffed. It's that we don't have enough Black businesses. So you have a lot of businesses, Black or other, that have bad customer service, that have, long wait times and bad products and overpriced things. But because there's such a small amount of Black businesses, we see the impact even more. It's like there's a small percentage of Black businesses, and then probably a large percent of those small percent of Black businesses that honestly, they don't have good management. So I go back to there was this Buy Black campaign. Again, I'd have to do some research. I think it was after Mr. Floyd's death, but there was this campaign to boycott Walmart, boycott Target, all of these big stores. We're not going to do that for the holidays. We're going to buy only Black. They gave a list of places around the US that were Black owned businesses. This is where you need to buy from. This is what you do. And at that time, I was not on social media, but I was sent the post. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. I started forwarding it to everybody. I'm texting my friends, let's do this. And everybody's thumbs up on this. That thing lasted all but 2 seconds. Like it just, people don't really care anymore. It's just all about consumerism. And so part of my frustration was like the bad service and all of that. And it's like, wait, when I buy Black, I expect to still have good quality. But the other frustration was like, do Black people even care? Like you have other people of other races championing us to buy Black, but do we even care? Like, so why should we do this? Do we care? Like, is it just to say, hey, I did this? Or is it really to uplift the community? We are the biggest spenders. I don't know the statistics on it. I probably need to research that. But new Gucci come out. Come on, please tell me you can afford that Gucci. You know you can. The new latest this, the new latest that comes out. I mean, Black people are so quick to be like, oh, I got this new Louboutin. You don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it. I mean, I work for a ambulance company and our rigs actually have names to them. And one of the names is Hermes. And it's funny because some people say Hermes, Hermes, Hermes. Hermes. And I'm over here trying to act like I know how to say it because I know that brand. I haven't ever in my life worn Hermes. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's just so funny that we all want like the latest, the newest, and we will go out and buy it and support these people who could care less about us, but we don't buy black. So my question, maybe I'm double tongued here because at first I'm saying I'm frustrated and then I'm scolding people who don't do it. I'm frustrated and maybe I need to understand more like the statistics and why things are the way they are. And maybe they don't have good management. But unless we want better for ourselves, how do we expect us to get better? So the question, do I have to buy black? You don't have to do anything. Are you inclined to buy black? If so, why are you inclined to buy black? And then how do you see yourself making progress to do so? And if you're not inclined to buy black, why are you not inclined to buy black? I'm curious. We want to know. So this conversation definitely cannot be a one-sided conversation. The podcast has questions that keep me up all night is built around conversation. So this podcast could not be carried by just me. Unfortunately, today everybody has something to do, but the show must go on. So it's me, y'all. It's just me. However, I believe that this conversation needs to be delved into. And a lot of times we sit around, we just have conversations. Oh, that was great. Ha ha. Slap on the back, slap on the knee. That was such a great conversation, but what are we going to do about it? And so this is the preface or the prepping or the preface, however you want to call it, to a follow-up conversation that we are going to have with our panelists to see where their minds are about buying black. And we can dive into some of these 20 points, the reasons why we should buy black. And then what do we do in our personal lives? What do we encourage our young people to do? And how do we actually put this into action? Not just February, Black History Month, not just when we think about it for Kwanzaa and other things, but how do we integrate this into our lives? There are people who have restaurants. There are people who have clothing stores. There are people who manage. There are people who are financial advisors that are in the Black community. We tend to go with the popular. We tend to go with what Google said comes up. How do we purposefully seek out those who are in our community, uplift our community, spend our dollars with our community, and then use that in the community to build up the community? There's one of these that says to buy black to empower Black individuals and family. That's number 16. She says strengthening Black households with a solid economic base by virtue of a successful Black business goes a long way toward keeping Black couples together and maintaining Black family stability. After all, many couples who divorce cite financial problems as one of the main factors in their breakup. That is really, really deep. There's another one, number 15, to help counteract systemic racism and financial inequality. She says, racism in America has lasted for centuries. It dates back to the inception of slavery on the shores in 1619, continued during the antebellum period from 1812 to the start of the Civil War in 1861, and remained during the Reconstruction era following the Civil War from 1865 to 1877. Even after Black people were supposedly free following the Civil War, the Jim Crow era lasted for some 100+ years, from around 1865 until 1968, a period when it was legal to discriminate again against Black people in various ways in housing, employment, education, and more. The impact of slavery and subsequent forms of white privilege can't be overstated. Even today, segregation can be seen and felt in school districts, housing, and corporate America, where the upper echelons of management are overwhelmingly white. Launching, growing, and sustaining Black business is, in some measure, an antidote to this reality. I think that that's very important. It's definitely a mouthful. You definitely need to go and research this for yourself. Our platform encourages edutainment. Educate yourself. Instead of scrolling, doom scrolling as they call it, I just heard, Instead of doing that, let's educate ourselves and make a difference. Are you going to change the world? Absolutely not. Are you going to change, I don't know, the state you're living in? Absolutely not. But you might be able to change one or two minds. You might be able to encourage one or two people to build a business, start a business, or sow into somebody's business that they already have. So, why should we buy black? There's another one of these points that says, number 13, to help create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive economy. She says we need an economy that works for all, not just for certain groups. This means creating an equitable and inclusive economic system that provides opportunities for everyone to succeed, regardless of their race, gender, or background. One way to do this is by supporting Black-owned businesses and buying Black. A more diverse and inclusive economy is beneficial for everyone as it allows for different perspectives to be heard and valued. This can lead to new ideas, products, services, and solutions that benefit the entire population. So why should we buy Black? Now, there are other implications, and I want to charge us when we do the follow-up to this podcast. We can bring in that, Black people ain't doing what they're supposed to do. They're waking up in the morning like, I want the smoke. I want all the smoke. I want to shoot this person, that person, that person. They're stealing cars. They're doing all this stuff. We can talk about that. But let's separate from that for a second, because there is a select few that are out here trying to live. There are people in our community that are out here doing it, grinding, and really trying to make a living. And they are creatives, and they have things that they want to put out there that we just need to invest in. Me, she, her, I'm one of them. Pick me. I am trying to build wealth so that I can bring all my folks along. And there are so many ways to do it. I've tried so many different things. I'm sick of scrubbing floors. I possibly didn't have the right management, as we talked about, to tell me how to do it right, to tell me to do it smarter, not harder. But I just, as my homegirl says, like, you just weren't in it. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do backbreaking work. I've been doing that for a very long time. And so there are people popping up on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, making millions, doing nothing. But people are clicking on it. I'm not complaining. Get it how you live. I don't care. What I'm saying is, for us as a community, starting with the family and then venturing out to friends, and then after that, your community at large and the Black community. Let's invest in one another. You got a couple of dollars? Give it to me. Let me see how I can blow that up. I got a couple of dollars. Let me give it to you. Let's see how you can blow that up. And let's help each other out. So I've come to the conclusion that that's why I need to buy Black. Now, do I buy exclusively Black? No. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how I would begin to do that. I was part of a multi-level marketing platform organization for the better part of maybe 2.5 years. And the reason why I stayed in it, because I quickly knew right after joining that this is not for me, was like, I don't see too many Black people making it in this. And I want to prove that we don't always quit. Because there are so many cohorts that come in and then they die out. And people come in, they die out. And you've got these Black people that are gung-ho about it, and they come in and they die out. And I was like, I'm going to be that one. I'm going to prove that I don't give up. I'm going to prove that I care about my community. I'm going to prove that I care about wealth and finance and that I could do it. And let me make something clear. I don't care about being rich. I'm not saying that everybody feels that way. I don't care about being rich. I want to be comfortable. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, and I want to be able to take care of my family. With that comes money. I'm going to need money to do it. So back to this MLM, I was in this multi-level marketing thing, and I just refused to give up at the time because I said, there's not a lot of Black people doing this. I just have to prove to these white people that I'm not going to give up. But that's not it. Like, it wasn't it for me then. It's not it for me now. And I don't have to prove to them that I'm not going to give up. I have to prove to myself that I'm not going to give up. So we're going to go on a little journey. We're going to have some mini series in this bigger series of this podcast. And we're going to find these themes. We have homework, we have projects to do. We need to help each other out as a community. And I believe that this first theme, as we are coming up on Black History Month, is we don't always have to do what we've done. We can do something different and it's okay. And it's going to take us falling on our face, and it's going to be radical, and it's going to be different. But for what it's worth, as long as you believe in yourself, you find one more person to invest in that belief, we can make it happen. And I think that I'm saying that to myself, saying that to my friends and family, but to the larger community of Black individuals who feel like they're forgotten, feel like it's a struggle in business and entrepreneurship. We can still do it. We can still do it, but we need to start believing in ourselves, empowering ourselves. And how about, I don't know, buy Black. Until next time, bye.
Stats, 20 reasons, and definitions belong to the cited sources. I agree with these ideologies in part, but may not wholeheartedly agree with every line of the attached articles or resources.